Hey everybody, BTO Pro here. A very, very tired and very, very happy BTO Pro. So, if you go to hackstheweb.org, as I've said before, you can play with what I'm about to play with. So, there are some ridiculously improved internals to this thing now. I'm getting really excited. So, first of all, it uses about 20 megs less memory on a static paint. In the desktop app, it's about 26 megs less than just a few days ago due to some serious optimizations. And I mentioned desktop apps, so I'm going to show that too. So let's see what we got here. Move that over a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to hit edit. And then as before with HAX, I can touch things, I can modify them. Some immediate enhancements to typing. I'm at the end of a line. This is a paragraph, right? You'd expect that. This too. Let's say I want to split it. I can split it. Let's say I want to delete. Now it's back into one, and I screwed up. It's delete. It's back into one. Oh, take it all the way back up there, right? So need to get some of that down there, right? Like that was a little fast as to how I went through those, but you can see that we've got the paragraph splitting and item splitting working for text areas. It's kind of cool. If I get rid of these, all right, it goes away. Cool. All right, nothing too crazy there yet. All right, so what's to freak out about? Got some videos, Jonah Hill, all that good stuff. CodePen. We've done the finding things before. Making things, we've got a lot more options than probably the last time I even talked about this. So we're getting into, I've got a QR code, we've got self-checks, we've got multiple choice questions, we've got tabs, hero images, vocab. We've got a lot of elements and we're just getting started. But let's do something that wasn't possible before. I want to do 3D. So I could do 3D previously. But let's see. We've got a 3D file, add, throw it in the URL, and previously I would hit configure and it would throw up. Now what it does is it says, how do you want to present this? And it goes, oh, it's a star. I don't know. So it's saying, look, I don't know how to present this, but here's all the possible ways you could based on what is able to accept a URL. Now I know that file is a 3D player capable file, and so I can go straight into my 3D player, just like I could before. It's kind of cool. All right, and there's my little duck, and you could put on your AR goggles, insert him into the page. Sweet. There's BTO Pro. Maybe I screwed up. Maybe I don't like this. So, previously, right, I hit this, I edit my testimonial, and that's really useful. And I changed my name, and we've got the data binding and the color and all that good stuff. There's nothing new there, other than this stuff maintains state flawlessly now. But so I insert that, but I'm still like, you know what? We've got this really cool new element. Shoot. I don't know where that picture is. So like, okay. Oh, hi. Convert to gizmos. So what I can do now is I can take any custom element on the page and escalate it into something else. This is utterly ridiculous. So let's say that BTO Pro, I want to ask a hero image. I made it the other day. That has now taken data out of that other custom element and dynamically remapped it into this one. So that now, this links to btopro.com. Need the link on there. Find out more about this sleepless person. Now, when I hit insert, we've taken that previous element, we've converted it into this one. Again, don't like it. Let's convert it again. I can do this any number of times. So if I want to convert me into an accessible GIF, I could do that. Now I don't, I'm not a GIF, obviously, but I could go back, convert that into a self-check. Let's ask some questions about BTO Pro. BTO Pro, who is he? All right, so this is a neat little thing as well. This will analyze alt text. It could use some love, but it'll at least do a half-decent job and say, like, if I write the word photo, a screen reader doesn't want the word photo or image or picture because it's already going to say that. This is what a sleepless crazy person looks and sounds like. But once I hit the threshold, it says, oh, you know what, that's half decent. Okay. Let's see, for my self-check about me, we got to ask a good question about me. So the question to ask is, how many national championships does this guy have? And then the answer is 1, because I only won 1. Also, I lost 1. Ugh. That was as a player. Anyway, let's insert that. And now I've converted me into a question. But again, we can go in anything, you know, maybe I want to duplicate. And this one we're going to convert into a meme because BTO, bro. That guy's a joke. All right, so there we go. Now I converted it into a meme. As is always the case with what we're building, you know, hell, a QR code. What do I care? Turn me into a QR code. BTO Pro, the QR code. That's pretty sweet. As with any of this that I'm showing, this is completely pluggable. So we didn't have a QR code element until a few days ago. A QR code element has no concept of HAX. A QR code element has no concept of whatever the hell all these other options are. Let's turn it into styled image, the first one we made. Right? And that lol alternative text keeps following us around as well as the image because we're taking these options and we're dynamically reparenting them into other things. And the other things could be anything. Anything at all. If I want to turn me into an iframe, I can turn me into an iframe. If I want to jump, there we go, I'm an iframe. If I want to convert me from an iframe into just a link to me, BTO Pro, sweet, there's me with my text. And I'm just a link that's going to appear at the top window. But I could also convert me, and I haven't tried this one, but I could convert me back into a self-check. There we go. This is ridiculous. I'm not going to lie. So why that's important is, you know, for many reasons, but we can now build out placeholders. We could maybe have a placeholder come in and say that it's going to contain an image. And now I can say, oh, you know what, convert that image. And now I can convert that into any of the images that we have. And so what we've built now is an interaction pattern that will allow us to build layouts very easily. So we have the ability to placehold things. We have the ability to escalate and convert into something else so that you could start at one media type and jump to another. And then there's this. So you need one other concept with a layout. A layout is a complex element, right? It's a grid plate, if you will, and the grid plate would have elements in elements, and I need to be able to edit the element down inside there. How the hell do I do that? So if I highlight this text, let's make an element, and we could do this previously. You know, I might wire in some OER schema, and I might say this is a topic, and it is a URI, or not URI, it's the description of a topic, right? Elements of change, something like that. So I insert, and for starters, there's, you know, a neat little visual on that. But what was happening before is I'd disable, I'd save, okay, and that goes away because it's metadata. But then I'd say, well, how the heck do I, shoot, I screwed that up. Okay, oh, so I select the page, and now I can select that item, and this one acts a little weird. It has to tell itself to be inline. But if you notice, let's move it to the bottom of the page. So if you notice, whenever I click and I activate the paragraph tag, I'm working inside the paragraph. I have operations of a paragraph, but when I jump into a deeper element in here, I've now kind of disconnected. Now I can still move this up and I can work with the entire thing. We've also added quick to top and quick to bottom buttons. But so now I can just work against that gizmo and change it to Elms LN, and that's a course. So you could have a master class on Elms LN. Insert. And now I've updated that item. So I touched that item inside of another item, which is exactly what I would have to have as a construct in order to do layouts. So we are dangerously close to layouts being a thing. We already have a grid tag. And so basically we'll have a block, we'll have kind of a block browser, if you will, that'll have the layouts displayed as far as, you know, just a little image of what that layout would be, whether it's like 3 columns or, you know, an image gallery, whatever you want to call it. And then when you stamp that down, we'll have a special element that's stamped down. So if you imagine there would be these types of bars, and they'd be, then it would render with the self-checks or headings and text and other elements already pre-populated in it. But because you could select a thing and a thing, I'll be able to reach and touch that inside the confines of that grid plate and edit just it without disrupting the grid plate. I could also then take the grid plate and move the whole grid plate. Or if it's, for media, right, I have this, oh, hey, there's a video, convert that. I could take these and start to shift them into other things. And if I can shift them into other things, then I'm not locked into some incredibly rigid, simplistic concept of like, there's an image stacked with a bar chart. Like, why the hell would you make something that specific? But I could give you a starting point that is a placeholder for an image and a placeholder for like a CSV file maybe. And then if you said, you know what, but that layout doesn't make a ton of sense, you could come into, like in the case of this, right? At the moment, if I hit convert gizmo, it says, well, this is a placeholder for text. I don't know how to handle that. But if I converted it to audio, and then we said convert, now I get the audio options. And so these design patterns, I'm not saying users are going to click all these things, but these design patterns are emerging rather rapidly to be able to do this. I think I might even have support for math. Nope, no, it doesn't do math. I wasn't sure about the math one with math JAX because I just started implementing this. I don't know if I have the names right. But so yeah, we are dangerously close to being able to do that. There are massive stability and performance improvements baked into this one. If I want to pull something off the wire from NASA, turn it into a QR code, I can turn it into a QR code. And you'll see everything's getting really, really fluid. It already kind of was, but it's just getting that much faster to combine things together because of some of the DOM optimizations. Another little thing, under here you can get into Xray and developer mode. Xray is just going to tell you what the tags are, which is kind of nice. It's kind of for some future functionality. If you turn on now developer mode though, under export, you get an import button. So if you want to test that this will evaluate to the same thing, I can hit import and that'll refresh the entire DOM with everything that was just there. And so I've been using that a lot for testing to ensure that the data that I'm putting in is exactly the data I'm going to get back out. The other thing you can do, like if I want to wipe this page and then hit import, all right, I got nothing now. And then I can throw some tags in. This will be a mode towards stacks and kind of gives you an idea of what's going on here. But if you click HAX element export, it looks like it didn't do anything. But if you check your copy paste history and hit paste, it takes those elements of the page, those DOM nodes, and it converts them into this HAX element schema. And so this is just a very simple representation of whatever the things on the page are. Which is really useful for passing, securely passing around complex objects. So that if I had a picture of me and I throw me in the page, I hit export, right? I have this and I have this little HTML blob, but more importantly, as a developer, I have the representation of that meme maker tag so that I can always recall this and inject an element. Where that's important is with the stacks. It's basically what drives the template concept. In HAX. So I hit example text and meme. That's just walking through and hitting like insert. And then actually, if you do it fast enough, right, this is actually inserting like 10 elements each time, but it's stored as that schema. So like if I were to look at what the stack looks like for that example text and meme, we can see it then takes that HAX element schema and imports it. And this is, a nice little abstracted, really easy to modify form. I could also, this is a way that we could graft upgrade paths. If say meme maker didn't work out and it was supposed to be like meme me, I could edit a file very easily, or I could write a translation layer to, suck all the HTML in one side, convert everything into HAX elements, and then rewrite the HAX elements to be these. I actually had to do this recently. So in order to get the desktop app to work. So let's look at what the status of the desktop app is. If I could type npm start instead of whatever I just typed. So this is major kudos to Michael Potter. He has been putting in some serious reps on this thing. So I'm going to start a new HAX book. Desktop, new folder. We're going to call this HAX the web, right? Because that's what we're trying to do. Okay, and then when I create a new project, which is just a folder, and it writes some files to it. So if I search for HAX the Web, I can show you what that is starting to do. You get a folder, and then in here, I just have this. Like, there's nothing crazy going on. So I've got an empty outline.json, and I've got an assets and a content folder. But now I select HAX the Web, and what opens is another window. And I'll expand this a bit. So at first I'd have like nothing, right? I just have the title of the thing, I have a back button, whoop-de-friggin-do. But what I want to start with, I want to hit the pencil, and you see I have a content outline. And so with the content outline, I'm going to start outlining for this thing. So if I want to write about HAX the Web, it would be welcome to the jungle, because we're really weird. The team, the purpose, the mission. And let's say I wanted to tab that in. I could tab that in. I also have some keyboard or button shortcuts for the things on the keyboard. So if I want to move that over, or the purpose, we're going to have a bunch of pages under the purpose, so we should probably put some things there. Documentation 1, article 2, really fun time 3, right? All that fun stuff, right? I'm building an outline. There's also this little help thing that'll show you what some of the keyboard shortcuts are if you want to use HAX like a pro. But so I'm going to hit save, and now it converts it into this visual outline. Now what I have on HAX the Web under the hood is outline.json is this one little file, and outline.json is nicely, ooh, he got it pretty printing now. So it's taking those things I wrote over here and it's writing into this very simple little thing we call JSON's outline schema. And so JSON outline schema is just a unique ID, how far in something is, what its order is, who its parent is, title, and like where to get its content. Very basic. But so every time you change everything over there and you hit save, it rewrites this file. The other thing it does is under content, it creates a blank HTML file to match with the title and that reference. And now you'll probably be aware of what's about to happen. So I'm going to go to Welcome to the Jungle, and it's going to say click here to start editing. I'm going to start editing, and I'm going to have everything I just showed you. All of it, even the placeholder stuff with the converting the gizmo, so that if I was writing this content, I mean, we're going to need an audio file for later, but I'm going to convert that into an audio player, right? I could start to do those operations. I want to find something, and I can pull stuff off of NASA. The same way I could everywhere else. I want to turn that into a meme because microgravity, it's the lulz, right? Microgravity, that's not a real thing. So now we've got microgravity there. We want to convert microgravity into a self-check because I want to teach people about microgravity. Is it a real thing? And then the answer is obviously no lulz. It is a real thing, but I'm just being silly. So now we've got our self-check. Again, all of that there. So I could, write a really sophisticated article that looks really good, has extremely high usability, is fast, works across platforms. Maybe you're seeing why I'm freaking out. And now, if I want to make something, perhaps like a multiple choice quiz or something, I could do that and randomize it. Yeah, we should just be able to randomize things. Great job. And so now if I get this correct, which is this one, it wasn't that one. It's actually, it's both. Sweet. Okay, insert, and now we've got that in there. So I make all these changes. Wonderful. I went into crazy no sleep mode there for a second. So what do we do now? We've got all this here. Maybe I'm converting stuff into vocab words, and I'm laying out content as a faculty member. Woohoo. Or, someone writing documentation for their open source project, perhaps, like we're about to start doing. Anyway, I hit save. Page is saved. And so now, if I look at the Welcome to the Jungle file, we will see, if I pull it up in the code editor, all of that glorious HTML, perfectly sanitized, 100% accurate representation of what it was. The slots are maintained for where those things were. My no lulls in a span tag, my headers, my multiple choice question with all of this stuff in order to package it and send it along its way. So that now, if I close HAX the Web and I open HAX the Web again, I have my outline, and I have welcome to the jungle, and I can open that up, and I can start editing this file once again. And so now I save, and this file on the other side has been updated, right? So you get the idea. This is our kind of vision of the future here. So I'm working on this. It's completely static. Whoop-de-doo, right? Like, why do I care? Because that's extremely easy to turn into a website. And that's kind of what, you know, some level of decentralization is about. If you read some of the stuff I write about this, as far as what it does. So if we do HAX the web and we copy these things, I think I haven't done this part yet, and we go into not LRN, it's not LRN sys outline, it's outline player. Sorry, my bad. So outline player is another element I've been working on. And so let's drop those and just paste this in here like that. And now I'm going to fire up a terminal window. We're going to go to outline player. And we're going to Polymer serve that. Okay, there's the documentation of how to use it. And I might have to, whoops. I don't think I have a demo there. Oh, I deleted my demo page. Oops. All right, let's try that again. And now I need to, okay. Now let's try demo. There we go. So this is a completely static little player that can read off and will pull in that same outline and is intended to load up our files. There we go. And so there's our file with all of its contents in it that I wrote in the desktop app in a format that is completely portable to all of our deploy targets. Speaking of deploy targets, Drupal.org/project/HAX is seeing some serious advancement on the Drupal 8 front. So HAX will, everything you just saw will work in Drupal 6, Drupal 7, Drupal 8, Backdrop, Grav CMS, our desktop app, and anything else that wants to integrate with it, because it ain't that hard. So this has kind of been why I've been freaking out of late. If you want to get involved, please hit up haxtheweb.org. There's all the details that you need to get going and join us for the web component revolution.